Okay, so I get dropped off in my second nursing home and it looks like a hotel. It looks way better than my first nursing home. I am super hopeful. I get a plate of food and my bedpan gets poured into the sink that I'm supposed to be drinking from and brushing my teeth. And the nurse's aide is a little bit grumpy and I feel like I can't chit chat with the people like I used to at the other nursing home. The other nursing home, the ladies came in and all introduced themselves, and these people seem like they're too busy to introduce themselves. Like when I'm going down the hallway, it feels more like a hospital than it did feel like a home at the last nursing home. So I definitely feel the difference. I feel the tension. I feel the busyness. Like I knew everybody's names at the last home, and this one I'm not catching their names. They're just coming in. And last time the ratio male to female, there was mostly just females, and now this time there's men coming in to help clean me up, and I didn't feel as comfortable. So that evening a man came for the first time. I had a man help clean me up, and it just felt weird, but I wasn't catching their names. They also come in and like check my blood pressure and all the time, and so there's much more monitoring going on than the other place, which is good. They're doing their job, but it's definitely a different environment. It's definitely more of a sterile feeling. But it's like some of the people are really strict and the other people are just not following the rules. So it's like I never got the correct vibe of what are we supposed to be doing here. And then it came to the problem of trying to get my food. Like the first night I tried to get food, they called down to get the food. They said somebody already ordered my food for the day. They're like, no, I'm a new person here. So it took about 3-4 days for somebody to actually understand that a new person had moved into that room. And it sounded like somebody was ordering twice and they were using my room number to order the food. So it was very difficult to get food. And luckily I had brought my food from the hospital, or else I wouldn't have gotten that breakfast the next day. But yeah, the bedpan issue of like draining it in the sink or dumping it into the trash basket, or rinsing my poo in the sink and then putting it down the toilet. Here's the thing, the rooms are connected by one toilet. That toilet room doesn't have like a crank for water next to it to like put it in. So there's no sink in that shared bathroom. I'm not mobile, so I can't see it, but that's what I'm told. So that's why they're using that sink. But that sink is not made for any feces or urine. That sink is made for washing your hands, washing your face, drinking, brushing your teeth. And now they're using it for feces and urine. So my mom got me water, bottled water and stuff like that. We brought my Roku in, but then PT came in. PT, all of a sudden, it was like a brand new thing. PT, I explained the situation, and on the first day she got me up and walking. We figured out that music helped me walk. She was like, we're gonna get a conference and we're gonna have them listen to you. That never happened. OT she brought in, and she's like, we're gonna have these specific people working with you, and only you, because you're very fragile and different. These are the specific groups that are gonna work with you. I'm going to work with you specifically. That never happened either. From what I learned is that basically you have the head people, and they like check you in, and then all of a sudden they pass you off on these other people, but they tell you they're gonna specifically work with you, and then they never do. Then all of a sudden, in the beginning, I had a psych eval come in. I got to read this psych eval when I checked out. This is what like turned all of my good things into bad things, and all of the notes that were put into that psych eval is what made my PT, OT, and everything like very difficult in how they treated me. It changed the things that he put in there. which was very disappointing. He made my life a living hell because of the notes he put in there, and he met me for like 20 minutes. If he would have asked me why I was speaking the way I was, he tried to put in that I had multiple personality disorder, but if he would have asked why I was saying we, I was referring to me and my support group, or me and my mother, because I refer to we because I don't feel like I could have done it on my own. And then I was referring to we, I was referring to me and the support group as in me and the information that I'm giving you. But of course he didn't ask me that. He just like wrote it down the notes and put a damning note in there. Yeah, so things got out of hand in that situation. After he left the room, also I was asking things of how can I deal with these sensory issues I'm now dealing with. He couldn't help me there. I said, what do I do with this light sensitivity issue I'm dealing with? He's like, go stare at a light bulb. Like, well, that doesn't help because that causes seizures. There's such thing as light sensitivity seizures. Yeah, so we had to remove lights in my room. They actually had to move me rooms because of the light that was outside of my door. And they actually had to take the lights outside of the door. And we bought special glasses while I was there. Like, my sensory issues got much worse while I was at the nursing home. And he told me just to start rubbing my hand on the back of things. It's like, no, I'm not a textile person. He had no idea what he was talking about. I called my mom after that and I said, if that guy ever steps 1 foot in my room, I will start throwing anything in my reach at him and have him removed off the premises. He never came back. I also told the nurse that as well. They put a recommendation in for that company to come and do CBD treatment, cognitive behavioral therapy, to come to the house 8 weeks after I came home. Let's just say they never came here. They never followed up on that. Not after my other diagnoses were officially put in. Blink, 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 blink. It's because I don't have that disorder. Yeah. People can be stupid sometimes. So yeah, I can't wait till like when I'm a little bit better to be functioning and COVID to be done, to be able to go back to that nursing home and be like, hey, I don't have that disorder, I have these disorders. And go talk to the OT and PT. But anyway, those PT people, OT people, actually got me up and moving much faster than the other place. So yes, the people there weren't as nice and friendly, but I got to know them. It took me a bit longer. They called me Sia because Sia always had their face covered. For me to get in the hallway, I had to put a hood up, I had to have glasses, I had to have my ears covered, and I had to like be completely covered. So the only time the nurse, like people had to come into my room to actually see my true face. So when I was in the hallway, I was covered, my hands had to be covered, so I had gloves on because anytime my hands hit the cold, I would freeze up too. So anytime I went outside my room, nobody knew who I was, and so it almost became a treat for the nurses to actually see my face. And there was a couple young nurses in the evening that would come talk to me. But PT and OT, once I figured out the people that worked with me, things started to progress. And as soon as I really felt like I was getting in the groove, and I was like, okay, this is working, I'm learning some skills, this is working, and I was getting information from my support group online to them, I was like, yeah, I get it, I got it, yes. Then they moved me to a different hallway because there was a man screaming next to me and there was a loud lady next to me. They moved me to a quieter room just because everything was so loud on that end and they needed the room. I got moved to a different room. Then things were like much more quieter. I had my own space. The sensory thing was calmed down a bit. Then I was able to really just focus on me, and not have to deal with the overwhelming sensories of people yelling and screaming, and yeah. So then that's when I started noticing new symptoms pop up, because I wasn't focused on a lot of other things. And that's when I started researching other things, because I really started feeling like this isn't right. Things aren't right. I'm not right. Limbs started locking up. I started freezing. Like, I started getting stuck in positions. I would get locked up. My legs would lock up. I would just be stuck and frozen. No one could identify with me on my support groups, and it was getting really difficult and frustrating. And my support groups were just telling me it was in my head or anxiety, and I wasn't accepting that. I wasn't going to accept that as a truth, as fact. I knew there was something deeper going on with me, and me and Mom searched for doctors all over, and then we found one called functional neurology, and we thought that was it, and it wasn't. And then all of a sudden, the nursing home was like, "Are you ready to go home-ish, soon-ish?" Then we realized we were about to get the boot. And that was sort of overwhelming idea. We went into panic mode a bit, and Mom was like, "I need to prepare the house." So then I had to focus on car transfer, how to move around the house. I needed to start visualizing how I was going to get home, what home life was going to look like. I had not been home in over 72 days. I had not been home since Thanksgiving, and I came home February 5th. When you're looking at the timeline of things, I came home right on the cutoff of COVID. I came home a month before they put the nursing homes on lockdown for COVID quarantining, which is nuts. Absolutely nuts. In some places they put the COVID quarantine in sooner. When I was there was actually 1 week that they quarantined one part of my nursing home, because there was a respiratory something going on. And so I came home February 5th, and there were some interesting things that happened in the nursing home, like pocketing meds. People I called out a nurse for playing Guess What Color Your Meds Are at 4 o'clock in the morning, somebody coming in at 6 o'clock in the morning and trying to do my BP when normally it's done at 9 o'clock in the morning. Look at ratings before you go to a nursing home or a rehab. They're all public. Just do your due diligence before you pick a nursing home. I was denied from 82 of them, so I didn't really have a choice. But if you do have a choice, look at the ratings, look at the reviews. Obviously, reviews are done by people who are angry, usually. So the negative ones are going to outweigh the positive ones. So please go to the nursing home or the rehab. Go in, look at it, talk to the people. Ask them about the food, ask them what they think about the staff, ask them if they like their rooms, ask them if their beds are changed, ask them how long it takes to click the button, because that's a big one. I had a lady who didn't like me, so when I pushed the button, sometimes it took 45 minutes to an hour. One time at night, I pushed the button, and I pushed the button, and I pushed the button, and she forgot to give me my morning meds. It was way past my morning med time. I think it was 2 hours late on my morning med. I had to call my mom, who then called the front desk, who then called the nurse's desk, and I was in like full-blown tremors. And then that lady ran down and ran to me, and she's like, I didn't see the button. I didn't know you were in this room. It's like, you have a chart with names. There's a video monitor on the button list. You missed the button, you missed the name, you missed the med list. What are your excuses? You missed it all. So check the ratings, talk to the people, look inside, look at the food. Yeah. So I came home February 5th. They said they were going to line up a PCA. They said they were going to line up a home health aide. All of those things fell through when I came home. So then we had like about a week of mom just taking care of me, and that was not part of the plan. But we figured it out. We ended up talking to a PCA. We lined it up and lined up all of my PT, OT, and speech. And then the OT, the speech, and the PT, that ended up being great. We had some great people. PCA, on the other hand, we didn't know how to screen for that. We did not know what we were looking for. We just took the first one we had and what was available, because there's not a lot of PCAs available around here. That was the worst decision we'd ever made. She was way younger than me. At one point, she asked if she could take alcohol from the fridge, and she was underage, and on duty she wanted to drink it. Untrained, my dog fell asleep in my bed while I was sitting in my bed, fell asleep in front of me. She was just sleeping on the job in general, specifically on a day when my seizures kicked up and I didn't have usable hands. Eating burritos in my bed. Asked to take my jewelry, put my clothes on, specifically when I said, please don't. Tried to squeeze into one of my like modeling clothing when it was like, please don't. And then she did when I told her I knew it wasn't going to fit her. Suggested I do her makeup for an event because she knew I could do it. I could go on. Pick your PCAs carefully. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for now. Yes, the saga continues.